We are stronger together, in the warm air and Gulf breezes, by the sparkling water as the sun slowly sets, where pirates shout ahoy and treasure awaits, where gentle manatees swim past timeless minarets, with adventures to discover in historic districts, with diversity and charm, in our community by the bay, to make memories beyond measure when you return, because we are all stronger together, where hope always shines in the hip urban heart of Florida's Gulf Coast beats. We will be ready for you in Tampa Bay, Florida's most resilient destination.
At Medi Weightloss, your health and wellness is our top priority. We're now offering virtual tools to help keep you safe and on track with your weight loss goals. Focus on your health and lose weight with our individualized medical plans. Call for a free virtual assessment. Medi Weightloss.
There he is. All righty. Awesome. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to LiveStreamTampa here from the custom-built Rocky Mountain Lodge. My name is Glen. I'm your host this morning. We're in hour 13 of the show. Thank you to Neil Patrick Harris for joining us in the last segment to show us some live magic. That was awesome. Thank you, Neil. So we know a lot of you are sitting at home, shelter in place, and it's a scary time, and you're looking for any kind of comfort you can find. And we know most of us find comfort in food. That can be a great thing, that can be a bad thing. Here to help us make sense of it all is a friend of the show, Dr. Guzman of Medi Weight Loss, one of the premier weight loss centers in the country. Dr. Guzman, how are you, sir?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me today.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here. And sorry to everybody who had any technical difficulties at home, any audio difficulties. I think we've got that figured out. So Dr. Guzman, how have you been since the last time we've seen you?
Doing very well, staying safe, following the social distancing and following those stay-at-home orders. And I've been working from home very diligently at this point. Family's great. Everyone's doing very well, and staying up to date with everything that's going on right now.
That's so great to hear. So how is this crisis been affecting your business? We know you guys are really clinic-based, right. So that's got to be disrupting the way that you provide your services to your clients. So how have you adjusted?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's certainly been impacted, but not necessarily in a bad way. We know that telehealth and telemedicine are viable alternatives these days, especially in the healthcare arena. So A lot of our clinics are still open. In fact, they're open in the sense where patients are coming in and doing curbside service, for instance, of picking up of food products and supplements and things of that nature. And any appointments are actually being taken care of through telehealth or telemedicine platforms with their providers. So it hasn't really been truly very disruptive. In fact, patients are still excited to be calling in, to be having these counseling sessions with our providers, to also be having access to Medi weight loss, especially with what's going on nowadays with the quarantine situation. As we know, there's a lot of potential stress eating, a lot of emotional eating that's going on out there for some folks. And as we can expect, there may be some uptake in weight gain. And so, in fact, in social media, I think there's this the term coined, the quarantine 15. It's been circulating for a little bit. And that's really where, people are, in effect, some people may be stress eating, and, where you have a home office, it's a couple of feet from your refrigerator, your kitchen. So, people are kind of even doing some stress baking, things of that nature. But the reality is, still there are other options that our patients can follow specifically to continue to have and do healthy choices for eating and so forth, and cooking at home as well. So everything's doing really very well, especially on the telehealth front for us.
Right. And you're the chief science officer at Medi Weight Loss. So getting scientific here, are you seeing that kind of data? Do you think when we are through all of this, we will start to see data that really supports the things that you're talking about, right? How stress eating goes up when people are in shelter in place. How is this going to be affecting just our approach to food moving forward?
Well, I think there isn't anything that's going to be truly surprising for us. I think it's really, human behavior, psychosocial factors that are there already anyways. And so if anything, this is a little bit more prolonged because we're now heading into almost a month, and for some folks in some states can be, into 6 weeks. So we may be able to kind of garner additional data related to, national crisis or pandemic crisis and how that interrelates to human behavior aspects for eating and so forth. But the reality is, we already kind of do have an idea as far as what stress eating does induce, especially with the weight gain aspect, and also being able to address those issues through other really coping mechanisms that are underlying at the behavioral part. So that's really where we come in with Medi Weight Loss, is focusing on lifestyle intervention, behavioral modification, really even continuing to make all those informed, healthy decision-making, even while you're at home, staying at home, or even when you're ordering things online for grocery pickups and things of that nature. So I think there may be data specific to pandemic, even pandemic preparedness moving forward if this were to occur again. But the reality is this is a crisis that's going on globally, as we are aware, and there may be additional trends that we'll be able to identify moving forward.
That's great. Now, we also understand that you have some advice for us about masks, right? Are we doing the mask thing correctly?
So that's a great question. So, we think of masks, especially the way that this particular virus is transmitted. Initially, everybody thought, we knew it was droplet. It was through respiratory droplets and exposure to those when you're inhaling them. The reality is that there is additional research that is coming out, that has come out related to aerosol, and essentially the potential, given the right circumstances and environment, where there can be aerosol particulates or particles in which it doesn't necessarily become airborne. And then another reason why there's been that change even in the CDC guidelines related to where at the beginning they said, you don't have to wear masks if you're out in public, and now they're actually recommending it. And a lot of that change in policy really came through because of what we know, that there's a sizable amount of the population out there that is asymptomatic. And because they are asymptomatic, they may be potentially transmitting that to other people. And then only one of the ways to mitigate that is by having, system-wide or national policy upgraded in public health strategies, where there's a recommendation of masks. Now, that being said, there are specific caveats that I typically, we recommend not only in the infection control arena, is related to even how masks are worn and how they're taken off. So some of the touch points are usually that I always like to talk about is, even before putting a mask on, you want to make sure that you're washing your hands that 20 seconds. simply because you're about to touch the mask. And once you put the mask on, you want to make sure it's completely covered the nose as well as a little bit under the chin, depending on the type of mask that you're utilizing. But here in this case, they're recommending the cloth mask, but even surgical mask is making sure that there's full coverage of the face. Another thing that people oftentimes forget is that just because you have a mask on doesn't necessarily mean that you need to stop that social distancing. You should still keep that physical distancing in place, simply because even though it's an added layer of protection and barrier, that's the true and tried public health intervention that we know definitely works for minimizing that transmission. So avoid touching the mask as well. So you want to put it on before you head out the house. And then you want to avoid touching it at any other point once you're out and about, simply because that's where we lead into instances of cross-contamination. And so if you're walking about, most of the mask where the viral particles are going to start accumulating is actually the front part of that mask. And then even taking the mask off, you want to make sure that you're taking it from the back off and you're not really touching any other part of your face. And then subsequently, if you're washing this mask, you should go ahead and put that into the washing machine, and then subsequently wash it. Now, if it's something that's disposable, then you also want to make sure that you're also using it as well.
That's really, really, really great advice. I know my brother, he works for a phone company up in New York, and they issued them masks recently, and he put a picture of it online. The thing was as thin as cheesecloth, and there was a label inside saying that it was made in China, and he's like, do I really want to use this? I don't think he's going to use it, but it was, nice of them to try and give him a mask anyway. We've got to wrap this up. Any last pieces of advice for people as they prepare for possibly another 3 or 4 weeks of lockdown?
I think, at this point is you're just going to have to pull through, continuing. I know that this is a very stressful time for everybody. And I think advice-wise is just understanding that, these things do happen. And ultimately, it's about still continuing, even though you're not seeing that one-to-one with some of your friends and family. There's other ways and other avenues to still get that support, that psychosocial support, like we're doing with video conferencing and so forth. And then just keeping in mind that, staying abreast of what's out there, but not necessarily believing everything that you hear. Always check your sources. Look at, CDC, look at WHO, anything related to academic medical centers. I know Johns Hopkins has some great resources on their website as well, because there's a lot of also misinformation, a lot of theories out there, some conspiracy theories as well, and just really understanding that you're only as good as the information that you're getting as well. And it's always prudent that you try to assess what you're reading before you start making decisions that are maybe perhaps not as informed, and having those conversations as well, and really reaching out to other additional expertise that is out there.
Well, that's great advice, and we hope that everybody who's tuning in shares this with their friends and family, especially all that information about the masks. That was super insightful. Dr. Guzman, thank you again for joining us. We're going to take a short break. In the next segment, we're going to have Dave Goldberg, one of the funny guys from Killer Bunny, joining us for some laughs. Stay tuned.
Stay healthy and visit sprint.com to get the services you need.
Stay home. Those words have lived in my heart for nearly 20 years. It's the reason why our nurses and caregivers demand a higher standard of home. Because if there's one thing we know, it's how much it hurts to see.
Hi, I'm Rusty Wallace.
And I'm Johnny Bench.
And we're no strangers to big-time pain.
Which is why we trust Blue Emu's pain relief products.
I use it every day to keep me on the move because winning never gets old.
Blue Emu pain relief products, non-greasy, deep penetrating formula, gets down deep into your muscles and joints to do its magic.
And speaking of magic,
Blue Emu, Maximum Pain Relief, the official pain relief cream of NASCAR.
We are stronger together in the warm air and Gulf breezes, by the sparkling water as the sun slowly sets, where pirates shout ahoy and treasure awaits, where gentle manatees swim past timeless minarets, with adventures to discover in historic districts, with diversity and charm, in our community by the bay, to make memories beyond measure when you return, because we are all stronger together, where hope always shines in the hip urban heart of Florida's Gulf Coast beats. We will be ready for you in Tampa Bay, Florida's most resilient destination.
At Medi Weightloss, your health and wellness is our top priority. We're now offering virtual tools to help keep you safe and on track with your weight loss goals. Focus on your health and lose weight with our individualized medical plans. Call for a free virtual assessment. Medi Weightloss.
Bump shots coming in, Frank. You're in the shot here, and Frank, you are up. And coming in, camera 1 and 3, 2, 1, you're up.
Hey everybody, welcome back to LiveStreamTampa. My name is Glen. We're coming to you live from the majestic custom-built theater here in Channelside. One quick programming note for all of you. LiveStreamTampa is not a show about a particular sexual fetish. We've been seeing a lot of requests in the comments section on our website, and I can assure you that's not going to happen. Okay? So turning now to our next guest, we have with us a comedy impresario. His name is Dave Goldberg of Killer Bunny. He's responsible for a lot of the great stuff that you see out on Comedy Central and other places like that. Dave, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Glenn. It's a pleasure.
How are you doing personally, sir?
Fine. I mean, we're in lockdown. I work from home a lot anyway. I have an office in New York City, but there's a lot of times where I'm here anyway, just because it's kind of fun to work at home, you know, and not go into the city. But the truth is, everyone here is healthy. I live in a big town of like 30,000 people, and I see people out on the streets all the time, keeping their safe distance, but you know, they're so it's not so bad as far as I can tell from where we're sitting.
Yeah, I mean, you being in New York City, I almost feel like I need to lean back a little bit here just to keep an extra distance.
I haven't been in Manhattan since March 12th. It was like the day before we had a show, an episode of one of our comedy specials premiere on Showtime, and we were at the Today Show promoting it with all the comedians.
Right.
And the funny thing was, it was the Hoda show. Hoda and I'm being a spaz right now, but it was like it was the later Today Show. Yeah. And they were interviewing, you know, with Jenna Bush and Hoda. And normally they have a studio audience, but the studio audience consisted of like 3 people.
Oh my gosh.
That were employees. So the city was starting to get on lockdown, and I haven't actually been back there since, but I hear it's kind of a ghost town.
Right. So let's talk a little bit more about the projects you've been working on for people who are not familiar with you. Give us a little bit of background on who you are and all of the funny stuff that you put out there where people might go, oh, that Dave did that?
Sure. Yeah. I have a production company called Killer Bunny Entertainment, and we've been in business for about 15 years or so. I have a partner named Rob Sia, who's also a best-selling author and a former New York City detective, who's done a lot of best-selling books about his days on the job in New York City. So we've done a lot of I'll give you the background. We've done a lot of crime shows. We did a lot of stuff for Discovery Channel about people in the mob. We did a show for Core TV called Under Fire. And a number of years ago, we were doing a show for Mark Cuban's network, Access TV, called Bikini Barbershop Jersey, which was as bad and cheesy as you can imagine. It was a reality show set inside of a bikini barbershop on the Jersey Shore, and it was really low rent and just absolutely ridiculous. But it was great. It was dirty and stupid and funny. And around the time we did one season of that, and that's when Mark said to us, I need to stop doing this kind of reality smutty stuff. I want to start doing live television. Do you guys know how to do live TV? And I lied and said, of course I know how to do live TV.
Take it till you make it,
right?
Yeah.
And we knew the owners of the Gotham Comedy Club, which is this legendary comedy club on 23rd Street in Manhattan. Big names have been through there. And I asked them, I said, how do you guys feel about doing a live show out of here every week? And in one day, we had a yes from them, a yes from Mark Cuban. And from then on, I became, as you said, the comedy impresario, almost by chance. So we did 130 hours of Gotham Comedy Live. Every Thursday night, it was a live 1 hour show hosted by a famous comedian. We had Sinbad, Cheech and Chong, Fran Drescher. You can name the list, 130 of them. Live and uncensored. So not only did that show give comedians a chance to do 8 to 10 minutes of whatever they wanted, which you can't do on Conan or on any of those shows or in Kimmel, they really have to open up and be funny and do anything. And there was no censoring. There was no delay. It was a great forum. And what happened was after about 7 seasons of that, the network just started, Mark was starting to sell it. He knew that it was, time to move on. But in that time, we just started developing relationships with a lot of other comedians. We had 700 comedians on that show over the number of 6 years, including people that had never been on TV before. Like Davidson, Michael Che, Colin Jost, all that are on SNL now. Sebastian Maniscalco made one of his TV debuts on our show. So we've done a lot. We've been lucky enough to have been working with 600 or 700 comics over the last few years, all of whom have great ideas. And most recently, we just did a show for Showtime called Funny Women of a Certain Age. And that came from one of the comedians we met during our run on Gotham, where it's all women over 50.
I've been seeing it.
You want to talk about that? Who have never been able to perform before, because even Gotham Comedy Live, there'd always be like 4 guys and 1 woman. It's just how comedy works, and it's not a good thing. So a comedian named Carol Montgomery, who's been doing this for 40 years, has had a pretty good career raising kids, supporting her husband as a comic, but never made it big, said, I never got to work with all the women that I've come up with together. Because there would be 1 woman on a show, or women aren't funny, or women would get fired because the woman who was on the night before wasn't funny. She bombed, so the next one must be unfunny. And that's how we've created Funny Women of a Certain Age. And we did 2 specials for Showtime already, with Caroline Ray, with Fran Drescher, with Lunel. And those have been big hits for us.
That's awesome.
That's how we got into the comedy business, and we're continuing to develop. We're supposed to right now be in Nashville shooting a 2nd season of a show called Stand Up Nashville, which is on a brand new network called Circle. It's owned by the Grand Ole Opry. It's a country music lifestyle channel. And we now have 12 episodes last October that premiered in January. That's still airing on the channel. But that's also, it's a clean show, but it's like Gotham in that there's 5 comedians, always kind of a famous host, somewhat with a Southern bent. But again, it's not dirty. It's a clean, very funny show.
Grand Ole Opry, of course.
Exactly. And we're supposed to be doing 12 of those right now. Unfortunately, no one's allowed to go into the club. So we've been doing some streaming events like what you're doing here. And hopefully come June or July when things open up, we'll be back down there doing more of them.
Cool. Do we have a clip? I think we have a clip of some stuff that they've done.
We played some shots.
Oh, we played some. Okay.
Just talking. Play some more.
Got it. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So
people. So if I'm going off too much, you can.
No, that's fine. So talking about the challenges of production, with all of this. I mean, so you've been turning to streaming. Are people sort of like waiting for the green light? And once we are, able to get back into a room with other people, like you guys have a lot of stuff ready to go?
It's funny. There's a lot of shows that we have that are like, waiting to go. One of the ones for Circle also is kind of like a Tosh.0 type of clip show, which I probably could do from home, but everyone's kind of put the brakes on production at the moment. What is happening, and what's interesting, is that I probably had more meetings with development executives at Discovery Channel, at TLC, at Warner Media, which owns, TBS and TNT and True TV. We have a meeting with stars on Monday. They're all like this. They're all, through Zoom or through, live chats. And they're all hungry for stuff because they know two things. One, production's been shut down. So they're going to need a lot of stuff to fill the void come the summer and the fall. Two, they're looking for fast turnaround things. So we do have a few shows, like I just submitted to True TV and to Comedy Central and to IFC, some shows that comedians, a lot of sketch comics I work with, are cranking out really funny stuff from home.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that production has changed so much when I started out, where you needed big crews, you needed an editor, you needed to do things outside. You can make an entire show on your laptop.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And these guys are very talented. So they're all good editors, they're all good writers, they're funny performers. So I just sent out like 4 different ideas of quick, funny shows that could be done from home. And you wouldn't even know they were done from home.
Yeah, we've got comedy going on here. The guys keep handing me notes, and then they're taking them away, like, pitch this, and it's like, where are we going here?
Am I taking, ask me anything. I'll tell you. So to answer your question, there's a lot of development going on. Executives are hungry, and I think part of it is because they're home with their spouses and their kids, and they'll do anything not to be with their spouses and kids. They're like, let's work. This is my chance to really focus. They're not going to Starbucks. They're not in marketing meetings. They're not doing those stupid courses they get from HR. So they really have time to think about creative. And it's a great time to be creative. Yeah,
it sounds like there's going to be a glut of content and pitches and developmental ideas and scripts and everything when we come out of this. It's almost going to be like maybe too much, and the producers and developers are going to have, their pick, right? Because like you're saying, like when, creative people are just stuck at home, like what are they going to do? Well, they're just going to start writing and creating. They're going to come up with ideas, right? Yeah.
I think you're right. It's funny. I just talked to we're working on a documentary about this legendary singer-songwriter from Nashville. And he just spent the last week writing a song with Brad Paisley over Skype. And he goes, it's the best work we've ever done together. And they're not even in the same room, but they're working like this. So there's great creative, there's a great creative flow coming out right now.
Yes.
And we're trying to figure out how we can capitalize on that.
Speaking of great creative, we're going to go to a clip of Zanies. Yes. All right. We're going to a clip.
This out. It's like, I don't want to hear it, dude. I'm exhausted. I just ran 12 miles. I was like, wow, you ran 12 miles? Well, you're halfway done. And then just turn around and run back. I don't know what a K is, but you got a few left. You know what I mean? Knock those out. I don't run. I actually just bought my first new car. I'm very excited about it. I bought a minivan, and I have no kids. And I've been rolling around in a minivan. It's not a good look. I know. It's weird. That's why I call it a minivan and not a van. Kind of softens the blow, If I say minivan, you're like, oh, he's taking kids to soccer practice. If I say van, you're like, oh, he's taking kids from soccer practice. That's a very important difference. That's what I've learned. It's subtle, but it's everything, I know nothing about cars. It's humiliating. Anytime something happens, I always freak out. I had to get an oil change before I left Nashville last day. And I'm sure that y'all know what this is, right? But during the oil change, the guy came into the waiting room and he showed me the...
That was fantastic. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Dave, thank you so much for joining us. Please come back again. Good luck with everything that you guys are doing. Everybody at home who's watching, please, tune into anything that Dave's doing. IMDb him, check him out, because he has been entertaining us and we didn't even know it. So Dave, thanks again. Stay safe. And when we come back, we'll be talking to Matt Porter. He is a writer, producer, and director of a Comedy Central series. So stay tuned. Stick around.
My name is Joel Davis. My company is Commune & Co., a new coffee company in town. First of all, the coffee we source, and second of all, the brewing method. We work with some of the best roasters in the country who work directly with farmers. Number one, that gives farmers the best prices possible. Number two, that gives us the opportunity to oversee quality through every step of the process. And then we actually developed our own method of brewing iced coffee. We're in Florida. We drink it every day of the year. We wanted something bright, naturally sweet, and nuanced, the natural character of highlighting coffees as opposed to boring cold brew methods. We call it pressure brew. And then after we complete the brewing method, we put it back in kegs and nitro tap it. So we serve a nitro tapped, pressure brewed iced coffee, just like you'd get a Guinness or a stout or something like that off a nitro tap. So it's a beautiful way to serve a really delicious coffee. There's 4 or 5 wholesale partners that we have in town. Dat's Dough in South Tampa, Squeeze Juice Works, the cold pressed juice spot in Hyde Park, Mermaid Tavern in Seminole Heights, and then the local public house and provisions up in Dade City. They all serve our coffee every day of the week on tap. They do growler fills, and then our tricycle, the Commune Coffee Trike, is on the road 5 days a week at least between downtown and Ybor City, and we do special events and fun stuff on the weekends with the trike as well. The best way to find us is our website, communeandco.com. You can follow us on Instagram or Twitter at communeandco, or on facebook.com/communeandcofl. We're always posting where we're at and events we have going on and fun stuff.
Hey everybody, welcome back to LiveStreamTampa here from the custom-built spa and resort. I think I might have used that one before, but who cares? It's just live television. My name is Glenn. This segment is brought to you by agoraphobia. Agoraphobia. Who's laughing now, bitches? Huh? Joining us in the box, we have writer, director, producer, and star of the Comedy Central series New Timers, Matt Porter. Matt, welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. Good to see you, Glenn.
Good. How are you, Matt? How are you doing personally? Where are you?
I am coming to you live from Porter World HQ.
Nice.
AKA upstairs office. So, yeah, we're doing good. I think I'm doing good. And then every now and then I think, wait, you were thinking about giving yourself a haircut last night. So, you know, it's dicey, you know?
Yeah.
It's dicey. There are days and bad days.
Yeah, I've been doing that myself. My wife is now my barber. The other day, we realized that our son, a 14-year-old son, he's got autism, but he needed a haircut. He was starting to look a lot like Harold Ramis in Ghostbusters. So we took the clippers that I use in my beard, and we took it to my son, and he was just not having it. And we got halfway through, and he looked like a hazing incident. Yeah, bad.
I wouldn't worry until you go like full Eraserhead, you know?
Yeah.
You know, then anything short of that, we're fine.
Yeah. So, Matt, what have you been working on? How has COVID affected production and the things that you've got going on in your life?
So it has certainly changed things around. Fortunately for business, it hasn't been too disruptive. Lately, we have been doing a little bit more of development for concepts for like TV and working on other projects that don't require us to be like on an on-location shoot or anything. So so that's great. So we've just kind of stayed busy, just kind of pivoted focus a little bit, and you know, more time with the family, which has been awesome. It turns out we have 4 kids. I thought it was 3, and it's been great to get to know them again.
Do you have any pets?
4 cats.
4 cats. We
don't do it halfway,
you're those people.
Man. Yeah, we go big. We go big.
Wow. What have you been hearing from your peers in the industry as well? I mean, again, it sounds like everybody is busy sort of writing, developing, coming up with pitches. In the last segment, we talked to Dave Goldberg from Killer Money. He's a comedy impresario, does a lot of, comedy shows and Showtime, and working with Mark Cuban, stuff like that. And it seems like everybody's going to be ready to create once we're able to get in a room with other people and create again.
Yeah. I mean, this is a time to be agile. I mean, the folks I'm talking with, the ones who are winning are the ones who are pivoting or shifting or expanding. So I have an acquaintance who's a professional comedian, Kostya Kimlot. He's been on TV with like Penn and Teller, and he does in-person magic shows and corporate events. That's kind of a bad time to be doing that.
Yeah.
So he pivoted. He went all in, got a whole video set up. And now he's crushing it with like multiple online events a day and a week, and he's doing great. I have a personal development coach friend, Wesley Wiley. His main thing day to day is doing a different 9-to-5er, but during this kind of extra margin time, he's shifting more resources and time to building that business. And then there's the people who are expanding, like Custom Built. You know, we all day to day normally fight for our own slice of the pie, but there's a time and place where it helps all of us if we work to make the pie bigger. And so I think that's a nice thing to do, where you reach out to other people in your industry and work to grow the category, not just your own business.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It seems like, and social media is really helping that out a lot, and people are finding new audiences, and the audiences are finding new content all the time. COVID-19 obviously is no laughing matter, right? So where are you finding the funny? Because we know there are going to be some comedians and comedy writers who are going to kind of like get up to that edge and that line, and there might be some stuff where it's like too soon. So how are you approaching, comedy as you're moving forward?
Well, it's funny. I'm right now, one of the things I'm doing is producing a talk radio show. And sometimes we do that where we'll produce a show on a Tuesday and it goes out over the weekend. Sometimes we produce a show and we don't know yet when that's going to end up airing on these 250 stations.
Right.
So here's the litmus test that I have found is, okay, this is funny right now, but if a whole bunch of people, if this took a super tragic turn, would this joke still be funny?
Yeah.
And if it doesn't pass that litmus test, then maybe we just let it rest and save that for another time.
Yeah, it seems like the safe territory is like the stuff we were talking about before with like giving ourselves haircuts and just sort of like, oh, I didn't realize I had, 4 kids and not 3. Like it seems to be how we're reacting to it, right? Our own flaws and insecurities, that's fine, but not making fun of the actual death part itself, even though you might see somebody laughing when they're like, oh, that pastor in Virginia died from it after having like a big mass. And it's like, that's kind of funny, but not in a really funny, haha way, right?
Yeah, everybody's got a different style and a different line. I always tend towards stuff that is, self-deprecating and that we can all kind of relate to.
Right.
And, I think comedy is no more needed than in times like this, when things are kind of bleak and it's a little kind of ugly out there. It's like, if we could laugh a little bit and, I think that helps us.
Yeah. How do you think the industry is going to change once we get the all clear and we get the green light? I mean, obviously, again, people are going to be anxious to get back together and start producing stuff, getting crews together. Comedy clubs, maybe not so much. I mean, what's your prediction on all of this?
As far as how we come back, when we come back, the pace of coming back, that's for the experts. I don't know. All I know is I really believe in the free market. I know we have so much pent up energy right now. Mm-hmm. I think we're just going to come absolutely roaring back. Obviously the economy is kind of trash right now.
Yeah.
But I just believe in the entrepreneurial spirit. I think we have a special brand of that here in our country. And I think we're going to see some amazing stuff once we get the all clear.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that a lot of people are like starting to learn things right now about themselves and, like you're saying, pivoting and adapting and becoming flexible. I think there are going to be a lot of people who have been furloughed who may not be there when those jobs come back, and some people who are just, making career pivots. We're going to wrap this up in a little bit. I got one last question for you.
Yeah.
If there was one person alive or dead in history that you could be quarantined with, who would it be?
I got to go with Steve Martin. I've always been a fan. He's funny, but he's multi-talented.
Yeah.
He can play the banjo but write very thoughtful, sensitive novels. I've always admired those Renaissance men and Renaissance women who bring a diversity of talent to the table. I've always aspired to that. So maybe it'd be fun to hang out with him for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure he's got a lot of great stories.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think that's about all the time we have for this segment. Matt, stay safe. Thanks for joining us. Guys, keep tuning in. Our next segment, we're going to do a little bit of fitness with expert Lisa Jamison. My name's Glenn, and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Rusty Wallace.
And I'm Johnny Bench.
And we're no strangers to big-time pain. Which is why we trust Blue Emu's pain relief products.
I use it every day to keep me on the move because winning never gets old.
Blue Emu pain relief products, non-greasy, deep-penetrating formula gets down deep into your muscles and joints to do its magic.
And speaking of magic,
Blue Emu, maximum pain relief, the official pain relief cream of NASCAR.
We are stronger together in the warm air and Gulf breezes, by the sparkling water as the sun slowly sets, where pirates shout ahoy and treasure awaits. Where gentle manatees swim past timeless minarets, with adventures to discover in historic districts, with diversity and charm. In our community by the bay, to make memories beyond measure when you return, because we are all stronger together. Where hope always shines, and the hip, urban heart of Florida's Gulf Coast beats. We will be ready for you in Tampa Bay, Florida's most resilient destination.
At Medi Weightloss, your health and wellness is our top priority. We're now offering virtual tools to help keep you safe and on track with your weight loss goals. Focus on your health and lose weight with our individualized medical plans. Call for a free virtual assessment. Medi Weightloss.
Quick, and ready, 3, mic set, 2.
97, 98, 99, 100. Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to LiveStreamTampa. My name is Glen. Just doing a little exercising here at the custom-built fitness center. No daytime Gab Fest would be complete without a fitness segment. So we're about to turn this talk show into the gun show. Yeah, I don't have a permit to carry this around, baby, and I don't care. And here to help us with our fitness is fitness expert Lisa Jamison of LiftPerformanceenhancement. How are you, Lisa?
I'm doing fine. You'll just have to give me a moment to just catch my breath after watching that.
Drink it in, baby. Drink it in.
Yeah, I'm it all, and I don't get to, my shades are shut. I don't even get to look outside, so I'm appreciating this moment, quite frankly.
Thank you for joining us again, and we know you're a friend of the show, and we know that for a lot of you tuning in, you're all shut in place. Your gyms are closed. My gym's closed, and I've been crushed by that. I've absolutely, just like, I can't believe I can't get to my gym. But I have things at home that I can do, and there might be things that you might be able to do at home. So Lisa's going to help us out with that. First of all, Lisa, how are you doing personally?
I'm doing great. As I've said the last couple of weeks, I live alone, so I don't have that worry about getting 3 kids homeschooled, and so for me, it's been how do I get a modicum of income I still got to pay for insurance and rent on my office, and there's certain the expenses that you need. So trying to get creative with that, and realizing that my job is to help people from a holistic standpoint stay healthy. So it's been what do I need to up my game? To take some self-care.
Right. I mean, certainly this has been a huge challenge for the entire fitness industry. I mean, gyms are closed, yoga studios are closed, Pilates studios. For personal trainers, it's got to be a really difficult time, right? Yeah. Because you can't work with your clients one-on-one, so you're probably having to do a lot via social media, right?
Yeah, and it's interesting. I think the clients that are meeting with me, 2 or 3 times a week, via whatever platform we decide to use. It's really for the most part, it's my 55 to 85-year-old set. And there's a certain savviness that comes with that. They know what They know basically what their workouts are. They just need to watch their posture. Or I've got some people with a ballerina who's coming back from some knee surgery, and it's, now I need you to make sure my knee is, I need you to watch my hip alignment. So it's me looking at the screen, but they're all kind of knowing what they're doing, and it just wasn't working getting it done themselves. So it's those times, those people have stayed on a schedule with me, and I'm realizing, well, I can look at the screen closely. I don't need to be in the same room. So that's been new news for all of us. And then there's certainly the online presence of being able to do group things.
Right. Right. But your approach is all about realign, re-educate, and rebuild, right? So how are you sharing that information with your clients? And for anybody tuning in right now, how can we learn or re-educate ourselves to the things we can be doing?
So it really, when I started that whole realign, re-educate, rebuild, it was really coming from an orthopedic standpoint. So Freddie talks about being in this perfect posture, and there's no such thing. There's beautiful alignment for things, but you're not meant to stay in this rigid alignment. You pass through good alignment, right? I can go into extension, come to good alignment, go to flexion, and all those are normal human movements. And then there's this piece of re-educating motor patterns. So that's a neuromuscular piece. So you've got to, you got to go out and hit a bucket of balls, right? You got to go out and throw a bucket of balls. You got to be bad at it. You're always hitting a bucket of balls or repeating a pattern over and over again. And then from there, that rebuild part is how do you get stronger? How do you get faster, right? Once you've realigned your body, you've relearned the motor pattern, then the strength and the speed and all that rebuilding comes after that. So to take that to other systems that we have, sometimes it's really just realigning our thoughts, right? Mm-hmm. And this has been a big kick in the pants for a lot of people. It's killing me not to go to the gym. You know what? Realign that thought, because here's news, it's not killing you. Mm-hmm. If you went to the gym, you have a much higher chance of dying, right? You have negative virus, right? So just that wording, that constant message to yourself of, smalls, you're killing me. No, I'm not, right? You're not, or we're not. It's, oh, wow, I don't get to go to the gym, period. What's, or colon, what's the next one? Right. Semicolon, what's the thing that comes after that? What am I doing today? So it's realigning that, have gentleness with yourself, because you're right, it would be very unwise to go to the gym right now.
Sure.
It's been exciting for people like me to just, I take a walk every day. I put on hiking boots, just change it a little bit. But to see the amount of people that are outside that really have been, what I'm going to say, stuck in the gym, man. Right. Like, it is too nice. Like, and I try to get people to, for years it's, remember when you were a kid, and for us it was later in the school year, you could go out after dinner because it was still late out. And it was like, Mom, can I go out before I go to bed? Can I, hurry up, get the dishes done, and you can go out and play. We got to do it. In sports, we get to go out. We get to go out and play. So this notion of I got to go to the gym, you've got some outside space. Yeah. And just what people do. Go out in your yard, go out on your back porch. And then just remember kind of wherever you go, there you are. And there is some body weight to you. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the training that I've done through the years is when people are injured, I always say, hey, if you get on the floor, where are we going to work out? If you get on the floor, can you get up? Right. People go, I don't think so. Right. So great, on the floor.
Is there anything other than sort of the usual suspects that people might be doing at home, going for walks, going for runs, maybe just doing some, normal push-ups, anything like that? Any tips, any tricks that you can give us for folks who are sheltered in place and not able to, do any kind of normal exercising?
Yeah, I would say for the people who do have normal exercise, like either you have some sort of routine. Let's say you're used to going to CrossFit and, there's a WOD posted. All those are still posted, right? All those are still posted somewhere. So sometimes there's this beauty of going through it with zero weight and pretending you're going through it. So you do not have to take 97 steps backwards while you're sheltered. You can go through the movement. And quite frankly, you're probably going to have a bigger range of motion when you do that. So I know you were kind of half in jest when you were doing that push-up, but that very modified push-up that you were doing is going to be great for some people. If I went to do a standard push-up now and I can only bend my arms this much, that's great, but I'm getting this much muscular elongation and that much muscular work. You can get much deeper into the push-up. So it's not a bad thing, it's just different. And And people will say, oh, I'm doing a girl push-up, I'm doing a modified. It's just different. Right? And to take advantage of those differences, because doing the same thing over and over again, you're gonna get good at that, but this is the time to shake it up.
Yeah, I mean, the key seems to be to stay active, don't stay sedentary. We were talking about, weight loss and diet earlier, and, don't take comfort in a whole bag of double stuffed Oreos, right? It's like, take advantage of this time to think about how you approach health and wellness, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the plus. I mean, I did a huge dietary change, right, because I knew it was coming, and I had another thing in life changing, so I went ahead and I can't run to 7-Eleven and get Oreos. I can't,
right.
I'm not going to the grocery store on my way home from work. So if it's not here, I'm just not eating it. Again, I don't have a family to feed. It's not, there's that old line of moms on a diet, ain't nobody eating, right? Like that's not an issue in my house. I might walk around and feel bad for a minute and go, okay, well, I don't have anything to eat, so I don't have any cookies, so I'm not going to eat them. But yeah, and I think just using your tools. So there's the mental piece of going through your workout. If you know that you go to a gym and spend 45 minutes there, an hour, whatever you spend, take 45 minutes. You got the time, right? If you found the time before, you've got the time now. Absolutely. So what would happen if you did those same workouts without any weight? But you're going to pretend that you're lifting the weights and you're going to engage as much as you can.
Right.
It is a different workout, but you will still work up the sweat. If you have a dog, carry your dog around. People, mothers, caretakers who carry around babies and little children, they get stronger walking upstairs. Pick up something. I could pick up a 5-pound dumbbell, or I could pick up a bag of sugar. Right? I could get a bag of sugar in each hand.
Yeah.
But the Ziploc bags, because you're going to drop one at some point, it'll go all over the floor. But you just kind of have to be creative. A stack of books.
Yeah.
Bend down, pick up one item. Bend down, pick up another. I mean, it's a great time to get out on the floor and do those wicked modified push-ups and see what they're really worth, right? You might be able to do 100 of them, different on your body.
So the key for all of you watching is stay active, get creative, don't just sit on the couch. You can watch TV and move at the same time. Take that advice from our expert, Lisa Jamison. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us. Hope we can see you again. Stay safe. Stick around. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, I believe we've got live music and sci-fi podcasting. Somehow we're going to make that all work. So tune in. Yeah, see you soon. We'll take a break.
Hi, I'm Rusty Wallace.
And I'm Johnny Bench.
And we're no strangers to big-time pain.
Which is why we trust Blue Emu's pain relief products.
I use it every day to keep me on the move because winning never gets old.
Blue Emu pain relief products, non-greasy, deep penetrating formula, gets down deep into your muscles and joints to do its magic.
And speaking of magic,
Blue Emu, maximum pain relief, the official pain relief cream of NASCAR.
We are stronger together in the warm air and Gulf breezes, by the sparkling water as the sun slowly sets, where pirates shout ahoy and treasure awaits, where gentle manatees swim past timeless minarets, with adventures to discover in historic districts, with diversity and charm, in our community by the bay, to make memories beyond measure when you return, because we are all stronger together. Where hope always shines, and the hip, urban heart of Florida's Gulf Coast beats, we will be ready for you in Tampa Bay, Florida's most resilient destination.
At Medi Weightloss, your health and wellness is our top priority. We're now offering virtual tools to help keep you safe and on track with your weight loss goals. Focus on your health and lose weight with our individualized medical plans. Call for a free virtual assessment. Medi Weightloss.
Thank you. Oh, it's good to be here. I just hung out with an old friend recently, and when we hung out, she asked me for directions to go hang out. Isn't that, I was like, you mean directions to find your phone, to look up directions? What are you talking about? I think it's crazy that people still don't know how to use technology. I don't know. It's like the iPhone got real popular in 2011. And it's 2019. Can you imagine if in 2011 they like gave everyone a gun, and then in 2019 there were still people like, honey, which side do the bullets come out of? I always forget. I don't know. I feel like they should be able to confiscate technology, the police. If you don't know how to use it, if they pull you over, just, sir, are those MapQuest directions you've printed out? Give me the iPhone. You're back to VCR. You can work your way up. I don't know. But I don't want to seem like I'm hating on anyone or anything. You know, young people are just as bad. I get it. Like I have a new dentist now, and this guy's my age. I don't know. He walked in. It's terrifying. He called me bro. It's like, can you go get your dad or something? What the hell is this? His name is Tyler. No, thanks. That's okay. I'll take like a Charles.
3, 2, 1, be back up.
Hey, welcome back everybody to LiveStreamTampa, coming to you live from the custom-built convention center here in Channelside. My name is Glen. Now, I know a lot of you are watching from home and you are scared out of your minds and you wish you could be in a galaxy far, far away. Well, our guest right now could draw us all a map. Joining us is sci-fi podcaster Jared Tockstein, right? Stein. How'd I screw it up? Jared Tockstein. We're an hour 20 of the show, so I need more coffee. Jared, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Are you staying safe?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I actually do work in an essential job, but
you're a professional wrestler?
No. Not this week anyway.
Okay.
But so I am still going to work, but you know, we're taking the precautions we need to. So.
Okay. And what kind of employment is that? What do you do?
I work in live television production.
Okay. Okay, cool. But you also do sci-fi podcasting. That's why we have you on, because we all need a great diversion, and listening to anybody talk about great sci-fi is just fantastic. So tell us about how you got into it. Tell us about your show. Tell us more about you.
Our show, we started podcasting. I'm doing it with two other guys, Matt and Mike. We kind of have a remote show. Matt is in New York, Mike is in Tennessee, but we do like we're doing now. We kind of video conference, and then we combine the tracks and put out a podcast. So it sounds like we're sitting in the same room.
Mm-hmm.
We started last year, and it's something we've been talking about doing for a couple of years. And so last year we just said, hey, are we going to do this thing ever?
Right.
And so we just decided to start doing it. And personally, I mean, the first movie I remember seeing in theaters was The Empire Strikes Back in 1980 with my dad. And that just, that basically stunted my emotional growth there. And so now I'm a 45-year-old man who has surrounded by action figures and books and posters. And I am married and I do have a child. So I got that part taken care of. But,
Right.
you know, it's just an interest that's been with me my whole life.
Right. It seems like this this virus and everything that it's kind of created, shelter in place, stay at home, don't do anything. Not that it's a great thing, because it's not a great thing at all, but it seems like it's tailor-made for podcasting and all of this sort of like homegrown content, right? Like this is a sort of a great time, pardon the expression, for something like this.
Yes, exactly. I think with the way technology over the past 5 or 6 years has really kind of democratized this entertainment industry.
Yeah.
Like, you know, 10 years ago, a guy like me would not have been able to make a show like this and you know, create it and release it all self-produced.
Right.
And, you know, you see what's happening now, the big guys, every production facility in Hollywood is shut down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Disney theme parks are closed.
Yeah.
I think you may see this, maybe a small revolution in this kind of self-produced entertainment, because you know, now, I mean, everybody's got one of these in their pocket.
Yep.
You can shoot a movie on this. You
Yeah.
can record a podcast on this.
Yeah.
And I think now, with a lot of people having a lot of downtime, I would just encourage them to explore their art. I mean, it's a good time to be able to do that. And also maybe listen to our podcast if you get a few extra minutes.
It's up on the screen, so anybody who's watching, you see the information there on the screen. But you're absolutely right. I mean, there are going to be some people who are going to come to this because they've got that entrepreneurial spirit. They're very creative,
Yes.
and they're going to start to experiment, and they're going to try and find ways to monetize it. And you have other folks who are just going to be like, I'm out of a job. I need something to do, and they're going to fall into it. And do you think when we come back out of all this and everybody's getting that green light to start producing again, you're going to get the big production companies and they're going to all, you know, the crews are going to come running back. But it seems like audiences are finding more and more of this homegrown stuff. And there's going to be kind of like a little bit of competition, right?
Absolutely. Because like with the show that me and the guys do, we're still putting out episodes every week.
Right.
Sometimes more than one episode. So, you know, if you create your own content, and you don't require a large studio or a setup, you have an advantage right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it was definitely going that way. You know, earlier when you held up your phone, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. I remember Samsung had this great 60-second spot during the Academy Awards starring Casey Neistat. And he was basically, it was a rally cry to, you know, homegrown content creators saying, listen, we don't need big budgets. We don't need, you know, studios. We don't need big crews. All we need is this phone, and we can create. And it was kind of like Samsung saying, hey, we're putting you on notice, Hollywood. And now Hollywood, like you're saying, is shut down. And so you've got people, you know, podcasting and, you know, doing shows from their home. So it is, in a way, in a weird way, kind of a great time for this kind of content.
Yes, exactly. I mean, we're all looking forward to, the big productions coming back. But in the meantime, give the YouTube content creators a spin. Find a new podcast to listen to.
Right.
Because that stuff is still there, and it's still new, and it's still coming out every day.
Right, like your Hyperspace podcast. So we're going to give you a bump there. So for those who haven't discovered Hyperspace, tell folks what they can discover on the Hyperspace podcast.
Well, the Hyperspace is it's three guys, all of us in our 40s. We've grown up in the golden age of entertainment with Steven Spielberg and George Lucas and John Carpenter and Back to the Future and all this other stuff. And that's kind of the lens we look at. We look back at the stuff we loved, but we also, we look at the entertainment of today and just from a kind of a Gen X lens, I guess you could say. But, we feel like we're the first generation who grew up with, video game consoles in our house. And we've come of age in this technical, we feel like we live in the future now. Like kids born today, they've always had this stuff. But for us, we can appreciate it, I think, a little more. So, and that's sort of the lens that our podcast comes at this stuff from. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I'm 50 years old, and we have my wife and I, we have a daughter who's going to be 18. Where is she? 18? Oh my God, I can't believe I just forgot her age. Anyway, is she 18? No, she's 17. Anyway, and we tell her all the time, like, we grew up in a golden age, right? We had, think about it, we had Star Wars, we had Raiders, we had Close Encounters and Jaws, and all that. All coming in like this short period of time, and it just kind of like revolutionized how movies were made, how stories were told. And, there might be some people who are like, oh, Spielberg ruined Hollywood with the blockbuster. No, screw that, right? Like, that's still great cinema. Martin Scorsese, it's great cinema. And we, even with television too, all the great sitcoms that we had, right? Taxi, or like
and Barney Miller,
even like
MASH.
Knight Rider, A-Team, Dukes of Hazzard, Incredible Hulk, all that stuff.
Yeah, so that definitely gives us a lot of insight and expertise into that world. So I can see why people would appreciate, listening to your podcast, because it's like taking us back a little bit, and it's sort of the genesis of a lot of the things that we're seeing now, right? Like, all of the creators have to pay homage to, the stuff that we grew up with, because really it was this golden age of cinema.
Exactly. And, a lot of the biggest names in Hollywood now, like Jon Favreau and J.J. Abrams, they are from like our generation. And they're making these blockbusters. And so, I think our podcast just kind of, not that we're the salty old men shaking our canes and saying all your new stuff is crap. We don't do that. We love a lot of the new stuff that's coming out, especially, like the Marvel movies and all that stuff. That stuff is fantastic. But we do have a foot and a half in the past, I think, just kind of looking back, and we have a lot of fun.
Yeah. What are you looking forward to the most when we come out of this, and everybody is able to go back to the theaters and the theme parks and just be able to be together again and hug each other without being scared out of our minds? What are you looking forward to?
Well, what I look forward to, and coming at this from a sci-fi angle, is I hope the planet is not ruled by hyper-intelligent apes when we come out of this. I don't need a Charlton Heston situation on the beach.
I think right now, though, not to get political, we are kind of being ruled by a hyper-intelligent ape, but not necessarily intelligent. But anyway, that's just a side note on my part. Sorry. But I think I remember seeing him in the original Planet of the Apes. I think the big orange one.
Okay. Well, what I'm looking forward to, I'm looking forward to going back to the movies, if that even happens. I've seen a lot of things saying some of the big theater chains might not recover from this. Which seems inconceivable to me, but I guess that's kind of where we are.
I think, if you're a streaming service like a Disney Plus and Hulu and Netflix, you might be thinking, we're going to get this stuff before the theaters because the theaters might not be there. And it could change our consumption habits if this, keeps going on the way it's going. And that's kind of sad. I'm getting a note here. Okay, cool. We've got a few minutes left in the segment. 1 minute? How many? We're wrapping it up. Hey, we're wrapping it up. But dude, thank you so much for joining us. And folks, stick around. We've got some very, very important information for anybody out there who knows a veteran here in Florida or anywhere else that you might be tuning in from. So please come back. We've got Manny from the Florida Combat Vet Hotline to tell us some really important information. Thanks, Jared, and everybody stick around.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And many more. It's easy to feel powerless when we can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. But if we pause for a moment and let our eyes adjust, we can discover beauty hiding within the darkness. We find new ways to bring hope, to celebrate, and to connect. We discover that the tools we already have can solve novel challenges. We imagine how we serve our community and protect our most vulnerable. We learn new meanings to the phrase daily bread and face-to-face and hero. We find the simplest ways to brighten the darkest days. And we discover that the light we're looking for was never at the end of the tunnel. That light, in fact, comes from each of us. So for as long as it takes us to reach the other side, keep looking for the light, because it's always there, just 6 short feet away.
straight back to camera 1. 3, 2, 1. Back up.
Hey everybody, welcome back to LiveStreamTampa, coming to you live from the custom-built water park here in Channelside. My name is Glen. If you're just joining us, you missed a fantastic segment. My thanks to the cast of The Big Bang Theory for popping in and sharing some really great behind-the-scenes stories. It was classic. So be sure to check that out online later tonight. But right now we've got with us from the Crisis Center of Tampa Bay and the Florida Veterans Hotline, Manny Guevara. Manny, did I say that right?
Real close.
Guevara, to talk to us about a really serious subject. So we know with this shelter in place, with this lockdown, with everything that's going on with this crisis, this is affecting people far and wide, but it's probably especially affecting our veterans. And Manny, you yourself are a veteran. Yes, sir? Combat veteran.
Yes,
so
sir.
Thank you so much for your service, and thank you for everything that you're doing at the Crisis Center. Tell us, how are you doing personally?
Well, let me tell you, I'm personally doing great. Missing the little things like the coconut ice creams, things like that. Outside of that, the family's doing great. The staff here is doing great, and we're just working with this and learning a lot. The new knowns, as I call it.
Mm-hmm.
This thing is teaching us new things.
Yeah. How are things at the hotline? Are things busier than normal? Are you getting more calls from veterans? How are they kind of handling this?
So I looked at a few of the numbers that we have in the past, and I can tell you that with 6 more months to go, we already exceeded last year's influx of calls by over 600.
Wow.
And we still have 6 months to go to close the catchment year, if you may.
Yeah.
Just last month, we received 56 COVID-19 related calls from veterans and or family members. So yes, it's concerning to some of us. Right. I understand that as veterans, we build resiliency, and perhaps in the first few weeks of the outbreak and pandemic, maybe we were holding it on a little bit more. So what I am expecting is that as time continues to go by, then our resiliency gets kind of tired, and then we reach out more and more. However, already we see an influx of calls.
Right. And what are you hearing most from the people who are calling?
Can you say that again real quick?
What are you hearing most from the people who are calling?
Well, most of it is that sense of needing to talk with someone. Because the Florida Veteran Support Line is a peer model, every caller will talk with a veteran. Okay. So in our world, that kind of works out a little bit, you know. Mm-hmm. Yes, there's like perhaps I have a need to have my mental health service provider, but that's a scheduled event. That's I have to go to the VA hospital and whatnot. But through the Florida Veteran Support Line, you know, anytime I need, I can pick up the phone and call a brother or a sister, depending on who answers.
Right. Are there dangers for any of the veterans, maybe some who might be immunocompromised, because of anything that they were exposed to during their service? Like, are they more likely to catch this? And is that something that is also kind of increasing their fear, perhaps?
So I am not a doctor. But what I can tell you is some of us were exposed to different fumes and gases in all over the world. Well, that's where we fall under the underlying conditions.
Right.
So, for example, my Vietnam era guys, Agent Orange, that might put them in their pulmonary system. That might put them under that underlying conditions. For us, a little bit younger, the OIF, OEF generation, well, we were exposed to things like the fumes from burning pipelines and things like that. Right. So if we develop a problem with our pulmonary system, then because you fall under that underlying conditions.
Right. Wow. Are there stories that you're seeing maybe on the other side where you have veterans who are calling in and saying, "What can I do?" You know, that they're maybe kind of using this as an opportunity to say, "I'm going to kind of fight this. I'm going to try and defeat this thing." And so, are they kind of stepping up and pitching in to help?
So I feel that you'll see it in the community, regardless of where in America you're in. We veterans, we're kind of designed to help others. So yes, I have noticed multiple of my brothers and sisters reaching out. Hey, Manny, do you need any help? And even the callers at times, we have had circumstances in which callers receive the needs. They have the needs met, and then they turn around and say, I want to pay this forward. So that is very common in our culture as military veterans.
Okay. For any of the veterans who might be tuning in, or anybody who is watching this live stream now or later on, and they see this segment and they want to share it with somebody who possibly hasn't thought about calling into the hotline, because we know that there are those obstacles, right? That there are veterans out there who need help, and they feel like that they have to kind of, deal with it all internally when they really should be reaching out. What do you want them to know at a time like this?
We care, brother. Please give me a call. 1-844-MY-FL-VET, 693-5838. Please call.
Right. And is there anything that the general public could be doing right now? So if you're somebody who knows that you have a veteran in your neighborhood or in your family, or you might not even know a veteran at all, is there anything that anybody can do? Are there donations that perhaps could help? How can we really help you guys help the people who really, really need it?
Well, that would be a different department. However, yes. There's a lot of groups in agencies doing things for not only veterans, for the rest of the community. Ours in particular would be the Crisis Center of Tampa Bay, and you can reach us through our website at www.crisiscenter.com.
Right. Okay.
And everything will be explained there.
Right. And people can always call 211, correct?
And of course, you can always call 211 at any time of the day.
Right. All right. We're going to be wrapping this up soon. Manny, anything else you want us to know before we wrap this up?
I want to thank you for having us in.
No, thank you.
In your show, and thank you for this opportunity. And to my brothers and sisters, call me. Please call me.
Wait, I'm getting a list here. Okay. Okay. All right, that's fine. Yeah, they're telling me to stretch it. We're live, and this is all kind of like working. Is Ken Gibson anywhere near you? Or did he run away?
Without him. I'm right here.
There is Ken. How are you, buddy?
This is not a good example because now Manny and I are not social distancing. So.
I know. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Sorry, you guys should be spread apart. But
we're both well. No fevers or anything like that.
Yeah.
So,
Ken,
how are you doing?
Good seeing you. I just wanted to see your face and let everybody see you. Ken is one of the great guys here in Tampa. He and I worked on a project way back, and I knew he was in the area, so I just wanted to say hi. So Ken, to you and everybody at the Crisis Center, thank you for everything you guys do for this community, for our veterans, for anybody in crisis. The number is 211. If anybody has anything at all that they need to talk about, please call the Crisis Center 211. Those people are angels. We're going to wrap it up. Coming up next, the writer, producer, director of the Blair Witch Project, Dan Myrick, because who else do you want to talk to when you're scared out of your mind? Coming right back.
2, 3.
State your name for camera, please.
My name is Carl Merriweather, and this is my sister Gina Campbell. Her last name is Campbell because she was married, but then she got divorced.
Okay.
And her husband's name was Carl too.
Carl, that's enough. That's too much information.
Sorry.
So, Carl, can you tell us how you became interested in UFOs?
Well, to state it as clearly as I can, I was visited by one when I was a kid.
The skies above Apple Valley were filled with more than just clouds last night. News 6 lines were lighting up with reports of an alleged triangle-shaped UFO in the
Some local residents claim to have seen an unidentified flying object just after sunset last evening, with one young man even claiming to have been visited by what he describes as a skyman.
He was tall and skinny. He didn't look human. I knew he wasn't a human. He said that he was looking for someone like me.
He has been so razor sharp focused, more than I've ever seen him. I guess I just figured he was finally ready to tell his story.
Here's the HGH.
I'm telling.
In 3, 2, 1, you're back up.
Hey everybody, welcome back to LiveStreamTampa. My name is Glen. We're coming to you live from the Custom Built Theater here in Channelside. You were just watching the trailer for Skyman, created by the legend himself, writer, producer, director, Dan Myrick. Dan, how are you, sir?
I'm very good, thank you. It's been a little weird the last couple of weeks, but overall, trying to stay productive.
Yeah, so let's just get right into it. I'm talking about, staying productive during this time. It's certainly a challenge for creators on the sense of getting things produced, but there are a lot of folks who are writing things, pitching things, developing things. So when we get the all clear, everybody's going to go run and there's going to be a glut of content and ideas. So where are you in the process of all of the things that you're working on right now, and how has this been a challenge?
Well, with regards to Skyman, we basically just struck a deal with Gravitas, so that's good news for us. We're going to be going to an online premiere, sometime in July. The downside was that we were scheduled to showcase at several of the Florida film festivals, namely Gasparilla, Sunscreen, and Sarasota, but that all got pushed. I'm hoping we can still have, screenings there, which would be great because that's sort of my home turf, and it would be nice to have some of the people that worked on the film be able to see it in the theater. But it will be available here in a couple of months for people to see. And outside of that, we have that horror anthology project we've been doing called Black Veil.
Mm-hmm.
We shot the pilot episode in Hillsborough County. We're editing it now, and we're putting together several more scripts. So we will be ready to hit the ground running once everything sort of loosens up. So we're hoping, in the fall, we can start shooting some more episodes for that as well. So we're staying busy. We're optimistic and got plenty to do to keep us busy and be ready to go when the time comes.
That's great to hear because, we keep hearing from Hollywood that everything's shut down. People are losing their jobs. People are furloughed. People are let go. Studios are scrambling. And it's not just, Hollywood. Are you hearing kind of any horror stories from any of your peers around the country?
Yeah, it's tough. Especially with production, you've got, a situation which is sort of like the worst case scenario for a pandemic. You have a lot of people working closely together, most of whom are flying, actors flying in from all over the country. Just craft services table is like the massive vector, it's just one of those situations where, you work in close quarters with a fair amount of crew. And that's unfortunate because, those are the people that are working day to day.
Yeah.
And those paychecks that have bills to pay, and they're not getting the big, salaries that some, A-listers and actors are getting. So that work was dried up for the time being. And you have to start, or we have to, as producers and directors and creators, have to think of ways start doing smaller productions that can be done on sound stages that are more controlled environments. I think that's sort of the future that we're getting into. And it was already sort of steering in that direction just out of economics. And the distribution platforms were changing. They were becoming more online. So that's got a big push. But, you know, a lot of production methodologies were not ready for that yet. And now they're being forced to really think that through. But I think it's going to be painful for a while. But in the end, there's going to be a lot more options, I think, out there for people.
Yeah, it seems like there's going to be this sort of new normal when we come out of this, and some of the stuff that we're learning and adapting to is going to be things that actually stick. And you know, so it's going to be kind of a weird time. It'll be, you know, sort of perilous at first. You know, Dan, obviously, you're known for scaring the crap out of us, the Blair Witch Project, and a lot of the stuff that you've done. Could you have imagined anything like this? Like, could you have sat down and said, interior, man bites bat, like, you know, like.
I mean, the sad truth is that guys like me do imagine this stuff. We're you know, sort of dwell in that dark space of our head. And I've always loved pandemic movies and things like that. And it's, but you never, it's just like anything. It's like Jaws or any horror movie that you think of it. You don't really think it's going to happen to you. It's,
right.
It's that sort of disconnect we have as filmmakers, like, oh, how cool would it be if the worst case scenario happened to you? And that's what makes it entertaining and engaging. But you don't actually think the movie in your head will become reality. You don't actually think there's going to be a 40-foot shark patrolling the waters outside your house, or
right.
a guy in a mask stalking you. But here we are in effectively a pandemic movie, and having to sort of deal with the life is crazier than art scenario that you know, I just always thought was in the history books, right? You know, I was under this false impression that we had the technology and the science that we could kind of keep, you know, things like the Spanish flu and the plague and all that at bay. We don't hear about those things anymore. But, you know, Mother Nature has a way of reminding us that we aren't really as in control as we like to think we are. And that is the root of horror.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, is making humans feel vulnerable.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah. Do you think that storytellers are going to kind of dip their toe into this? Like, I can't see like a film about this, right? Or will there be? Like, do you think people are going to start to think about, like, all right, this may be a little tone deaf if we, you know, put out a film like this where there's a contagion again, or maybe they're going to be looking for, you know, more uplifting content and stories until people are feeling better.
Yeah,
like,
that's a really good question. That's a really good question. I think we all need escapism and we all need relief. And you know, so only speaking for myself, you know, after about 6 months of a constant bombardment of virus news and websites, you know, a good comedy is going to be sorely needed. But you know, at the same time, you know, this is an opportunity, I think, for a lot of people to really put on their creative thinking caps. I mean, you know, some of the unintended consequence of this is that we're all sitting around thinking shit up, right?
Yeah.
And it could be a real creative time for people to come up with innovative stories and innovative ideas, because that will never go away. I mean, there's no virus that can take that away from us. Creative ideas are still compelling and people want to see them, whatever form they take. So this is an opportunity, I think, over the next few months for people to really, like, you know, break out that old script that needs dusting off,
right?
Or that idea that's sitting on your hard drive. You might as well, you're sitting around anyway, you might as well plow through it and really figure it out. So we have a plethora of really great ideas, concepts kind of blooming after we've all been pent up, which I think could really be cool. But back to your question, I don't really know, because one of the other things I was thinking about is, like, would it be tone deaf to, like, show scenes of crowded bars, you know, in a new movie?
Right. Yeah.
And you know, and people gathering and football games. Do you have a movie about a football? You know what I'm saying? It's just like, how does that new reality
Right.
How does that affect your audience?
Yeah, office building scene, and man coughs in back of elevator, and everybody just kind of like, and it's like, it has nothing to do with the bigger story. It's just, and
right. And it jumps to everybody's mind, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Just shaking hands, a scene where everyone's shaking hands in in a conference room. Like, hey, we can't do that anymore. So,
right.
As writers and creators, we have to now think, well, what's that new reality like?
Yeah, it's like, how many buildings can fall in this movie? Like Roland Emmerich's probably going, all right, like how many is too many, right?
Yeah. It's not whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So Dan, we've been keeping the show pretty light as much as we can. So you're a master storyteller. Are there any funny stories from your career going all the way back to the beginning to now? Like, what's the funniest thing that has happened to you? Or maybe the most horrifically funny thing that has happened during your career, other than COVID, of course?
Well, I mean, certainly Blair has plenty of stories. Back in the days when, we were just like a bunch of knuckleheads, operating out of Orlando. And I think a story I like to tell often, I mean, we had a small little crappy office in downtown Orlando, and we were editing the movie there on an Avid, I believe. Might even be a Media 100. It goes that far back. That's back in the day.
Yeah.
8 gigs of storage. So when we sold the movie at Sundance, we had high expectations and everyone was very excited. But Artisan at the time that bought the movie, they had done Pi the year before, and Pi I think did about $3 or $4 million. And so we were all cocky, having dinner with the Artisan executives, and we're just a bunch of knuckleheads from Orlando, and we were into foosball. We really loved football. We had a crappy little kind of Target foosball table at the office, and we got addicted to it. So we bet the Artisan guys that, look, if Blair Witch breaks 30 million at the box office in its whole run, you have to buy us a competition grade, like, walk into the bar, first class foosball table. Whatever, no problem. So we broke like 30 million in the first weekend. And and I remember we called up the executives of the Artisan a few weeks later. Hey, remember that foosball table bet? And lo and behold, like a week later, it came pulling up in the truck, and they delivered it to the office. It was awesome. So that was a lot of fun. I mean, that thing's still floating around somewhere, but we got a lot of use out of it.
Had you known, you probably should have gone, hey, we want a G6. Okay.
Yeah, I want to do F-150 or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it was one of those things that, again, we were kind of half joking around at dinner, and none of us were really expecting it to be anything as big as it became. But there's a lot of those fish out of water stories that we have because it was such a big phenomenon, and I remember those days fondly.
I bet you do, and thank you so much for basically kind of like laying the groundwork for so much of what we've been enjoying over the years, and people making films, kind of sort of on the cheap, but you guys, you created something that people will never be able to forget. And thanks for doing that. Thanks for joining us today. We got to wrap this up. Want to thank all of our guests today. Thank you all for tuning in. We will be back next week for episode 6. Dan, good luck with everything that you're working on. We look forward to seeing it. And we got, I'm being told we got one more segment. I'm going to be sticking around. So what? Pete Guzzo, producer Pete Guzzo is going to join us. So stick around. This is going to be great. I mean, I don't know how you follow Dan Myrick, but Pete's going to try. So yeah, we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Thanks again, Dan.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Take care.
Hi, I'm Rusty Wallace.
And I'm Johnny Bench.
And we're no strangers to big time pain.
Which is why we trust Blue Emu's pain relief products.
I use it every day to keep me on the move because winning never gets old.
Blue Emu pain relief products, non-greasy, deep penetrating formula, gets down deep into your muscles and joints to do its magic.
And speaking of magic,
Blue Emu, maximum pain relief, the official pain relief cream of NASCAR.
We are stronger together in the warm air and Gulf breezes, by the sparkling water as the sun slowly sets, where pirates shout ahoy and treasure awaits, where gentle manatees swim past timeless minarets, with adventures to discover in historic districts, with diversity and charm, in our community by the bay, to make memories beyond measure when you return, because we are all stronger together, where hope always shines, and urban heart of Florida's Gulf Coast beats. We will be ready for you in Tampa Bay, Florida's most resilient destination.
At Medi Weightloss, your health and wellness is our top priority. We're now offering virtual tools to help keep you safe and on track with your weight loss goals. Focus on your health and lose weight with our individualized medical plans. Call for a free virtual assessment. Medi Weightloss.
hey Frank, make